everyone who has found my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Tracy Huisen, and I have recently started a YouTube channel. It is not the only goal, but I'm working towards that. And as soon as I'm close to that, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys. I'm so excited. Right now, though, I share parts of my life, and I hope that it's something that fills your cup. I hope it is something you can relate to. And when you do watch, I hope that you just enjoy it. So thank you for joining me. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the default parents. I hope it doesn't trigger anyone, but I hope it's something you can relate to because then obviously this episode is going to be fulfilling or fun. Okay. So we're going to be chatting about what a default parent is, how my husband and I spoke about it, how we work through it, and just how we became aware of it, default parenting. Okay, so what is a default parent? A default parent is a parent that the kids or the family, your household generally gravitates towards. Whether it's a need, whether they're hungry, whether they want answers, they naturally gravitate towards you, cuddles or whatever the case may be. I wasn't fully aware what a default parent was, but I did know there were moments when I felt a bit overstimulated where I was just like, why is it always me? Why do I need to figure things out? Or why are the kids always coming to me? And it was really only when I had conversations with my mom friends that I then realized, okay, there is such a thing as a default parent, and I'm not alone in this. This topic, though, I got from a conversation I had with my girlfriends this weekend. It was actually so funny because we spoke about putting up the Christmas tree, right? And we were just having a good laugh on how it usually plays out. So we were just having a discussion, and then the one is you have the very excited parent, and they take out the Christmas tree and they start everything, but then you end up having to finish it. And then you get another situation where, the mom creates the energy, puts out the Christmas tree, and the other parent comes like, oh my word, this looks beautiful, great job, kind of thing. It's absolutely stunning. And we were just laughing at all the different ways that we, as the default parent, create the vibe, create the energy, and make sure that things are obviously done. So I was like, oh, such a good topic then, because also I remember my husband and I going through this. So how it really started for me, my husband and was I was going away for work. And at the time I was still breastfeeding. I am still breastfeeding, but at that time she was a bit younger. So I was like pumping all the time. And I was supposed to go away for 2 nights, but I was like, Nathan, I'm only going away for one. My husband's like, no, go for two. Everything's fine. I was like, no, I'm going to miss the kids. I'm going to miss you. So I only went for one night. Packed my pump in. We had milk at home. He's like, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Send me pictures all the time because I was really missing him, missing the kids. And anyway, everything was sorted. But then later the night, he sent pictures of the kids were sleeping. He's like, look, I did tell the nanny to stay in. She's going to sleep over just in case. And I was like, okay, I didn't think it was necessary, but, he's at home. I'm not. He's got to figure it out. But I was low-key touched a little bit because I'm like, why couldn't he be alone with the kids, right? And then when I got home, I was like, okay, we definitely need to have a conversation about this. So when we had a conversation, it was really an eye opener because at this point we had now understood what a default parent is. We actually sent each other reels on Instagram and stuff about it, so we kind of knew what a default parent was. And I think when we had the conversation, it was then when we identified what our roles actually were and what came naturally to us. For us was we found that splitting everything 50-50, it wasn't working for us. We identified um, each other's strengths, and then we worked on that. We also learned was balancing is not having the ability to do everything the other person can do. It was rather focusing on what we can do and then thriving in that area. So let's break down how we obviously got to this. Okay. So we identified our strengths. For example, I naturally gravitate towards the kids' schedule. This comes naturally for me. I love a color-coded schedule. I love working out the whole terms, activities, even with school projects. As soon as the school project comes home, I like find the dates and I'm like, okay, by this date it must be done, or by this date this must be bought. I love it. I'm confident in it. It's something that I think I naturally gravitate towards, or just something I'm good at. And so that, for example, is something I deal with. Then there's something as silly as sports days, and not that I don't go, But if there's something that needs to be done at school, it's something that my husband wouldn't just do because he has the ability or the patience to run around, go to the field, go to this place, whatever the case may be. Again, these are silly examples, but the idea is just to share with you guys what we identified as strengths or just how you identify your strength. It's just something that you naturally gravitate towards, whether it's as a mom or as a woman or as a husband or as a father. It's something that you naturally do. And then communicate. One of my friends, also my wife's friends that are married, they would always tell me just communicate because men, and I speak on my own behalf, on my own man, they don't naturally maybe know how to help. But by virtue of them asking, can I help? I mean, that's them reaching out. But there was a time, and I think I spoke about it in my one video where we did date night, where I was annoyed because the kid was sick and my husband's like, what can I help with? I'm like, bruh, can you not see? Whereas now I'm like, if he asks for help, he wants to genuinely help. And then I would explicitly say, yes, babe, I'm run out of muffins. You need to go get muffins and hand for me, please. And he's like, cool, on it, done. Conversation done. Similar to him communicating with me with something I need to do, whether it's checking my kilometers because I can't go in, he'd send me a WhatsApp, be like, bro, I'm in the car. Make sure you check kilometers. Again, silly examples, but the point is there's an open communication now when I need something. And we're also honest, like, okay, I cannot go and do this right now, or is how urgent is it, or if the case may be, because we don't always show up at the time our partner needs us, but then that's why we communicate. And then we just, I guess, got to a point where we respect each other's roles, and I think it's when we were put into each other's positions where we were like, we add to this family and we want our family to thrive and it looks different. Our roles look different, but they complement each other. I realized that I am the homemaker and I absolutely love that. My husband works hard and he builds a house for us and he puts everything in his house, but I make it homey and it works. It's needed. We need a house. But then I also create the space where my family can come home and have peace and enjoy their space. And that's the idea when we look into our roles that we play and then we thrive in that. I think it also came from a reel that I saw, but it was such a silly reel. But it was a guy's hand that was dirty, and then he flipped. It says, my hands look like this, so that her hands can look like this, and it's like a manicure hand. And like I said, we were putting each other's in each other's positions where he was left alone with the kids and I was working because he works away from home sometimes, and he was away. I mean, yeah, no, he was at home with the kids and I was away. And I think I got an appreciation for him because you're in a way only for one night. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I wanted to be at home with my family. It sounds clingy and crazy, maybe, but I wanted to be with him. And I was thinking about how, like, I didn't enjoy the hotel. I didn't enjoy that the room was cold and that I couldn't cuddle with my family. And he does it. He brings home the bacon, so he's away. And I was like, yo, thank you so much for what you do and the fact that, you work so hard for this family and that you have the strength. I could never stay away for for time away from them, but thank God he can because he gives us everything we need, and then he can't maybe stay a night with the kids, and he asked the nanny to stay because he was scared that if the little one cries, and she did at that time, she cried a lot maybe at night, then he had a backup plan. And why would that upset me? Because that is something that I love doing. I'm okay with doing that. It comes naturally to me, but thank goodness I'm good at it, so that we tag team. And I think that's maybe what sparked it. And then we just started appreciating each other and working on the roles. And I know maybe we're independent women because we are, and we're feminists and all of that, but I think it's what works for you in your home. In my home, and what I'm really sharing is that once we identified that I do enjoy being the homemaker, I just would thrive. And once we identified that he does most of the taking care of to make sure I can be a homemaker, it really started working out better for us. And there's times we miss each other, obviously, but I mean, once we had a conversation, it was so much easier, when we needed each other and when we need each other to show up because it wasn't a case of but you don't ever or you never consider because I know what my strengths are and he knows what his are and we reach an agreement and we know kind of what we expect from each other and then it's really just to show up and support each other and be present, in whatever we agreed upon. Yeah, so I think to all the, you know, the peeps that are default parents, it is really okay to feel like sometimes overstimulated, but you are not alone. And also, it is really great to have that conversation, set boundaries and really ask for help. The idea is that you want to, fill your role in your household, whatever that role is, whether it's the default parent, whether it's, you know, the support, or whether it's following or the lead, or whatever the case may be. It looks different for every household. Whatever it is, once you embrace that, I think there's a mutual understanding, there's respect, and then there's just making the team work really work, you know. So yeah, I hope that your Christmas trees are up, and I hope that this somehow makes sense to you. Just like totally offside, I have tried to record this a few times because every time I want to speak about it, there's so many things I want to say, but I also want to keep the video short. And then I rewatch it, I'm like, no, I forgot to add certain things. So I'm hoping this is the last like take, and I hope I said enough because there's so much I want to share. And then I also don't know if I'm speaking like to make sense, but that was just a little bit of BTS that is behind the scene. It's not a low key swear word. But okay, have a lovely week and thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you guys next week again. Hopefully, I have a hotter topic. Okay.